create. And we are doing, it is kind of like a mandala, but it's not really. For those who are joining, I'll give you a couple of minutes. Basically, I do these sessions just to kind of give you ideas of how to be creative and how to just freely create something from nothing. And that's one of the biggest challenges that most people have with art. They would prefer to start with something on canvas, but I like teaching you how to put something on a blank sheet. So we're going to start. And the thing that I forgot to tell those of you who I told were coming here, you basically needed paper and Sharpies. But if you can find something really quickly that has a round surface, I'm going to use a roll of tape and maybe even a cup. I just need something to give me a circular shape. So I'm going to go ahead and change my camera location and you should be able to follow along. All right. I look flipped today for some reason, but it's okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with my roll of tape and I'm just putting a circle in the middle. And I think I want to use a pencil first. So I'm going to use the inside of the circle and I'm also going to use the outside of the tape. So I now have two circles as my base. And then I'm going to go on top of my circle with the Sharpie. If you trust yourself, you can just go straight from Sharpie. But I just wanted to get a base circle. And we're eventually going to draw an eye in the middle of that circle. And for those who are on here, I'm still learning Restream, so I'm not sure how to do the chat feature yet. So just want to tell you guys thank you for following, and we're going to go ahead and get started. So in the center of my circle, I'm going to draw an oval or what looks like an eye. So as you can see, I just drew the shape, outer shape of an eye. I'm now going to come on the inside and draw the retina. You can take it all the way to the edge if you want to. I'm going to leave a little bit at the bottom. I'm going to go to the dead center of it and put my pupil. And I'm going to go ahead and color that in black. And I'm just going to put a little white or a circle over here. It's going to be my shine mark because I will eventually color that in. So I do want my eye to look a little bit realistic. All right, above and below my eye, I'm going to just draw an arc. I kind of want it to look like the eye is peeking through the circles. And then I'm going to draw more circles on the outside until I fill most of my paper. And if you have something like a compass where you can get those circles nice and perfect, that's fine. But for creativity purposes, we're just going to draw random circles around. They can be the same width apart, or they don't have to. And I'm just going to keep going all the way till I get near the edge of my paper. So even out to my corners. All right, from here, I'm going to put what looks like eyelashes. So I'm going to call this the outer corner of my eye. So I'm going to just draw curves. And when I get to the center, then I want to start going in the other direction. So these look like eyelashes. And you can choose to do the same thing at the bottom, but I think I want to do something a little bit different. I think I'm going to do zigzags. So if you followed the other night, we were doing Zentangles. So we're going to be doing something very similar on these circles. I'm going to leave the upper and lower area of the eye untouched. So then I'm coming out on my rings, and I'm just going to choose random lines or patterns to put around my circles. So I may choose to do X's. You can choose whatever you like, whatever resonates with your creativity. And you don't have to use the same thing all the way around. You can do something up top and then change it if you'd like. Again, the purpose of these activities is just to give you a little relaxation through creativity. That's the name of my page, Relax, Relate, Create. And when COVID is not active, I'm normally out and about in the community or in people's homes doing what I call RRCs, Relax, Relate, Create events. People actually host parties. I mentioned the other night, if you're a perfectionist, you may want to use rulers, but there's no exact science to what I'm doing right now. I'm just kind of free flowing. And you are more than welcome to copy what you see me doing, or you can do your own. So all I did was just create an outer. And I'm just keep doing that all the way around. The next one, I think I'm going to do just wavy lines, just kind of going up and down all the way around. And we will be adding color to this one. You have the options to use crayons, color pencils, markers, watercolor paint. Because Sharpies are alcohol soluble, you can actually add water or markers to it, and they won't bleed. If we were just using a regular marker, once you add water to it, then it would start to bleed. All right, I'm just moving right along. I'm going to do swirls on the next one. And the cool part about these videos is if I'm going too fast, you can always go back and look at them and pause and take your time, work on your own level. These are just to give you ideas. I am starting another art series in December. It's a paid class where I'm teaching people the basics of how to draw, how to shade. They will learn how to draw the face and how to add shading in certain areas to make it look a bit more realistic. So it's only 4 sessions. I do them on Mondays. November, we did a watercolor series. We painted a tropical sunset. And then last Monday, we painted what I call a fall or winter tree. And then tomorrow, no, not tomorrow, Monday, we'll be painting a landscape using watercolors. All right. I think I just want to do straight lines going around. And if I was just on my own, not doing this, I may do some more intricate line work, but for the sake of time and ease, I'm just doing some basic patterns. If you are commenting on Facebook, I will go back and look at the comments later. I am unable to see them right now. I think I'm gonna do bricks. I like doing bricks. They're fun, relaxing. So what I did was just split that in half, and then I'm gonna come in and draw lines in every other spot. I kind of messed that one up. It's all right. We are just simply creating. But in doing these lines, you can sometimes create optical illusions, which I will be doing an optical illusion demonstration with you guys at some point. All right, so let's split this in half and continue our bricks. Bottom. So I'm just going to continue my regular line. And then I go in between every other. And I think I want to do triangles or zigzags down here again. All right, and so now we have a radial type Zentangle. Now in these blocks, if you wanted to put words, you could, or more designs, it's completely up to you. I think what I want to do though is come on top of it with a darker or thicker marker on my circles, just so that they stand out a bit more. So I always say have 2 sizes on your markers. You can go with thick and fine point, or you can do fine point and ultra fine point. I think I'm going to leave the outer kind of thin and just come a little thicker on the inside. And then it also helps to clean up any mistakes you may have made. Yep, I think that's all I wanted to do. So you can tell a little bit difference in how much it stands out now with the thicker marker on the outside. All right, so like I said, I'm going to add color tonight. Again, you could have used markers, Sharpie, color pencils, crayons. I am using watercolor pencils, and they come in all different brands. There's no specific brand that I'm highlighting tonight. I usually like Prismacolor color pencils. But today I'm just using I think this is a Hobby Lobby brand. And I'm going to start with my eye. I think I want to do a brownish eye. I'm going to color the retina with my color pencil. And I'm just kind of doing a quick sketch with the color pencil. I'm not coloring it completely in because I'm going to add water and paint. So you can see I kind of what we call scribble scrabble with the kids. I did a little scribble scrabble. I'm going to come in with a different brown just to add some character. I left that dot white. All right, on the corners of the eye, I'm going to add a little bit of red just to make it look pink. And I'll show you in a second. So see how in the corners I just added just a touch of the red color pencil just to give the eye a little bit of shape. All right, now above the eye where the eyelash is, you can either choose to go with the skin tone or you can give her eyeshadow if it's a her. So I'm gonna go with a blue, a light blue. And I'm just kind of coloring back and forth. You could make this part darker and maybe the upper part lighter. Whatever makes you happy. There was a time when I was a makeup artist, so I'm going to use one of the techniques that I used to do. I'm going to put a little bit of a darker blue kind of in my crease. And then I'm going to come above with this light blue, but I'm just going to do a feather light coloring. Just coloring out of the pencil. So you can see just a little bit of shading right in there. And I may put a little bit of black on top just to give it a little bit more depth in the shade of the color blue. And then as I go out, I can pick and choose. This kind of looks like stained glass to me, so I think I want to just do random colors on the different shades. Very organic and color different colors in different spaces. And I know I didn't add color down here, but that's something I can always go back and add. All right, one more blue. And then I'll switch and use a different color. Go with the popular purple. And again, with this coloring, I'm just going randomly. I'm not calculating, oh, I forgot to put a purple there, let me add. I'm just kind of going randomly. And I'm not taking time to color it all the way in, again, because I'm using the watercolor pencils, which means I will be adding water to this in just a few minutes to paint. All right, thanks again to those who have tuned in to watch, or if you're following along and creating, welcome. Hope you are enjoying yourself and relaxing. If you are a follower on Facebook, either personally or on the Relax, Relate, Create page, and you create something from one of these sessions, please make sure you post and tag so that I can see what you created. And if you have questions, you can always inbox me and I can answer questions as well. Same thing goes for YouTube. If you're a YouTube follower, feel free to leave questions or comments in the chat or the comment area on the app. All right, just about done with this section. Trying not to put two similar colors side by side, but didn't quite work out that way. I could always overlap colors though. So let's do some blue and purple overlapping, see what we get. So I just put purple and put a little blue on top. It should make an indigo color, which is between a blue and a purple. All right, I think all of that's done. I'm gonna come here and make it my skin tone. So I'm just gonna come with brown. And I may leave this little zigzag area as is. I think I'm gonna leave my swirls as they are. And I'm gonna come in here and I'm gonna choose what we call complementary colors. So complementary colors, when side by side, kind of clash and bring out, we'll put emphasis on its complementary colors. So green and red is a pair, purple and yellow, and then the other one is orange and blue. I think I'm gonna go with purple and yellow. So I'm gonna fill in every other area with purple. And speaking of those complementary colors, when you see them together, for example, if I drew a green forest and chose to put red roses randomly popping up, your eye is going to naturally go to those red roses because of the contrast between red and green. Or if you think about Christmas colors, for those who celebrate Christmas, you have a green Christmas tree, you put red decorations on it, it's going to a lot more than if you put gold or blue, because yellow and blue are pretty close to the color green. You use yellow and blue to make green. And some of this is like, I'm sure you're thinking, I don't really care. But as an artist and an art teacher, I try to help people understand art and especially color. The rainbow is the base of the color wheel in art. So as an art teacher and an artist, I'm always connecting, trying to remind people of how the colors work together. So now I'm going to yellow in between. I could have left it white. I think that would have looked nice. But because I'm leaving those swirls black and white, I wanted to add color. And for those who just joined, it looks like I'm doing a half job of coloring. It's because these are not regular color pencils. These are watercolor pencils, which means I'm actually going to be painting on top of what I'm coloring. If there are spaces that are uncolored, they will be filled once I add the water. All right, so I'm going to leave the swirls black, and now I'm going to work on my brick. So I have a color here that's kind of a rust color, and then I have what looks like magenta. So I'm going to do a combination of these on my bricks. And I'm just kind of going randomly. Actually, I'm kind of doing every other. Just quick sketching, quick coloring. And then I come down to the bottom and do the same thing. Then come back with my rust in between. And on this part right here, which is still kind of brick, I'm just gonna do a vast color over and maybe mix the two colors together. So I'm gonna do rust and burgundy together. In. I've never used this brand of color pencil, so I really don't know how it's going to turn out. We'll see. And I have a little bit on my corners. I haven't used a lot of green. I think I want to go with green, especially down here on the bottom. I think I might stick with green to keep it balanced on all four corners. The paper that I'm using, by the way, is a mixed media paper, which means you can use any materials on it. You can paint on it, you can use marker, color pencils, crayons. So when I say mixed media, I like this brand. And you can paint on these, do different things. All right, and I'm going to come down here, and I think I might do, let me think, maybe orange. Yeah, I'll do orange. And it's being really random now. Didn't premeditate or think about this before I did it. And the complementary color for orange is blue. So I'm going to come in here and put blue. With the orange. And I'm all set and ready to paint. All right, let me move these out of the be careful with dropping your materials, your pencils. Inside here is one long lead, and when you drop it, it breaks into lots of little pieces. So if you've ever sharpened a pencil, and every time you have a separated piece, it's because it's probably broken. All right, so I am going to grab not a really thin brush, but nothing really large. And I'm going to start on the inside of my eye. And all I'm doing is painting on top of what I colored. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but those colors are kind of just melting into the paper. For those who grew up in the 70s and 80s, we used to have coloring books that had paint with water. They were paint with water books. And all you needed was a brush and water. That's kind of how the color pencils work. So you can look at that and see it's no longer sketchy. I actually painted it. So since I already have water and brown on my brush, I'm going to go ahead and paint in the areas where I have brown. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more water to my brush. Now I'm going to come and paint my bricks. And I'm kind of doing the brownish bricks first, and then I'll go and do the burgundy ones. I'm just adding a little bit more to my brush. The watercolor pencils are a lot less messy than watercolor paint. If you're wondering the cost of the watercolor pencils, these were regularly $3.99. I got them on sale reduced for $124. But it's with everything else. You want more quality, you spend a little bit more money. And usually when you go up in price, you're getting into the professional grade supplies in most cases. Not always, but in most cases. So depending upon if this is a hobby or if you're really trying to start an art business where you sell your artwork, then you may want to invest a bit more in your supplies. But I remember seeing some watercolor pencils in the Dollar Tree before, and they worked just as fine as these. This brand is actually doing okay. And sometimes when you get it's the regular 8 colors, red, yellow, blue, orange, purple, green, black, and brown. This one actually has 12 colors instead of the 8. All right, I'm going to use a larger brush to kind of go around this broad area. And I'm just going to paint directly around. I don't want so much water that it bleeds down into my other dry areas. But you'll notice if, because I'm using a Sharpie, that is not moving at all. However, if I was working with regular marker, the black would bleed into my colors and change the entire dynamic of what I'm doing. All right, I'm going back to my smaller brush. I'm going to go ahead and paint the little corners of the eye. And although I used red, you'll notice that it looks pink once I paint those corners. Go ahead and paint above my eye, right above the eyelashes first. And then I'm going to go up into my eyelid where I added the shading. Then I'm going to clean my brush and paint the upper part. All right, last two areas. Oh, I forgot about out here. Let me go ahead and do this green. Almost forgot about that. And while I'm out here, let me do my orange and my blue. Make sure you clean that brush because now we're starting to touch different colors. And if you did not clean your brush, then you would start mixing colors unintentionally. And once if you decide to invest in some watercolor pencils, just make sure that you use only enough water to make your brush kind of damp, because if it's too wet, then your colors run and bleed everywhere. All right, I'm going to move to my purples. And because I have purple on my brush already, I think I want to go ahead and do my purple shapes in my stained glass area. And just like regular watercolor, it doesn't take a long time for this to dry. So if there's something you want to add to it later, you can always go back and add. Area where I didn't put anything and I left it black and white, I might to add color to it. I haven't decided for sure. All right, now I'm going to go back and do my yellow so that I don't forget. And we are almost done with tonight's session. And went a little bit longer than normal, but that was because I wanted to introduce a new supply to you. I'm going to go ahead and do my yellows. And then I'll just go ahead and do my orange. It's okay if you still have yellow on your brush once you touch the orange, because that's not going to change the color too much. Anyone who just joined, we created using Zentangles, and then I came in and colored with color pencil, actually watercolor pencil. And now I'm just adding the water to the colors. Just about. All right, do my green, and I will be done. And the only thing left would be for me to sign it and decide if I wanted to add color in these spaces. Color. So it is done. Nothing major or fancy, but it is done. All right, thank you so much for joining. I'll see you next time. Happy creating.